Their metallic faces turn towards the heavens. They listen, they seek, for faint whispers from the cosmic dawn, or perhaps for something closer. For years they have scanned the deep, cold expanse. Their vigil is constant, their purpose profound, to unravel the universe's grand design. Few places on Earth offer such clarity, such an uninterrupted view of the stars. The array, known as Cerro Infinito, represents a pinnacle. Decades of research, billions in investment, all for this. To peer further, to understand more. The scientists here are dedicated. They search for answers to age-old questions. Are we alone? What else lies hidden in the void? Each dish a colossal ear turned to the symphony of space. It began as a flicker, a minute irregularity, a blip that could easily be dismissed, barely perceptible amidst the cosmic static, a whisper in the vast expanse of space. Dr. Lena Hansen first noted it. Late one Tuesday, the observatory was quiet. Most staff had departed. She was alone with the stars. She was running routine calibrations, checking for system noise, but this was different. It was coherent. It repeated. It had a pattern, a faint, rhythmic pulse from the solar system's far reaches, beyond Neptune, beyond Pluto, from the edge of the known universe. The signal was incredibly weak, almost lost in the noise, a mere whisper against the roar of the universe, a signal so faint it was almost a ghost. Initial assumptions pointed to instrument error, a glitch in the system, or perhaps a distant uncatalogued asteroid. Hansen ran diagnostics. She checked and rechecked, again and again. The instruments were perfect. The signal remained. It was persistent. It was real. It was undeniable. She called in her immediate supervisor, Dr. Alistair Finch, a man known for his meticulous nature, a veteran of the void. His skepticism was legendary. Yet even he paused. He knew this was something different. Finch ordered a focus scan. Every available resource was directed towards this anomaly. All available dishes on Cerro Infinito turned. They moved in perfect harmony. They stared intently at the empty patch of sky, searching for the source of the signal, the source of the ghostly transmission. Days turned into weeks. The mystery deepened. The announcement was prepared with care, with meticulous detail. Dr. Hansen and Dr. Finch presented their findings to an internal consortium first, then to the wider astronomical community. They laid out the evidence, the telemetry, the orbital plots, the sheer weight of data. They expected cautious optimism, perhaps even acclaim. Instead, they faced a wall, a formidable barrier of disbelief, of entrenched dogma. The grand halls of astronomy echoed with doubt. Insufficient data, some declared. Alternative explanations have not been ruled out. The existence of a ninth major planet, it was too disruptive, too revolutionary for many. Within the Cerro Infinito team, a quiet unease began to fester. Beyond the primary discovery lay other data points, small, seemingly insignificant. These were the details overlooked in the initial rush, the subtle footnotes in the grand narrative of Planet 9. Dr. Aris Thorne, a junior astrophysicist, found himself drawn to them. He possessed a keen eye for patterns, a mind that thrived on the unexplained. He noticed things others dismissed. The planet's albedo, its reflectivity, was unusual. It seemed to absorb more light than it should, almost as if it were cloaked. Then there were the faint, almost imperceptible thermal variations. Not uniform, not what one would expect from a barren, frozen world. Thorne ran simulations. He cross-referenced with deep space energy signatures. The results were perplexing. They did not fit any known planetary model. Dr. Aris Thorne was not a natural rebel, he was a scientist, dedicated to method, to evidence, to the pursuit of truth, no matter where it led. He believed in the system, in the integrity of scientific inquiry, in the peer review process, in the collective wisdom of his colleagues, in the collaborative pursuit of knowledge, the shared goal of understanding the universe. Yet the system seemed to be failing. Cracks were appearing in the foundation of his trust. The denial of Planet 9 was one thing, a scientific debate perhaps, but the quiet suppression of its more unusual characteristics, that was another. It was a deliberate act. He spent sleepless nights poring over the enhanced data, the clearer images, the anomalies that couldn't be ignored. He had access to the raw feeds, the unprocessed, unfiltered streams of data, the unfiltered streams from Cerro Infinito, a treasure trove of information. Using advanced processing algorithms, he cleaned the images, he stacked them, he sharpened them, he revealed their secrets. What emerged made his blood run cold. It was beyond anything he had imagined. On the dimly lit surface of the supposed ninth planet, there were structures, faint, yes, but undeniably present at the very limit of resolution, but unmistakably geometric, unnatural. They defied natural explanation. They hinted at an order not born of chaotic geology. These were not mountains, not canyons. They were too regular, too precise. They suggested a design, a purpose. The decision weighed heavily on Aris Thorne. Silence felt like a betrayal, not just of science, but of humanity itself. If there were structures on this new world, people had a right to know. The implications were too vast to be contained, too profound to be managed by a select few. He resolved to act not through official channels. They had already proven themselves resistant. He would go directly to the world. He meticulously compiled his findings, the raw data streams, his processing algorithms, the enhanced images, each one a testament to the impossible. He encrypted the files and prepared an anonymous statement explaining his motives and his conviction. He knew the risks. He would become a pariah, hunted by those who sought to control the narrative. But the truth, he believed, was a force that could not be indefinitely suppressed. The release of Thorne's data sent shockwaves across the globe. What had been an academic debate amongst astronomers erupted into a worldwide sensation. News channels ran constant coverage. Headlines screamed of alien structures, of a cover-up. The images, grainy and haunting, were dissected by experts and amateurs alike. Was this real? Could it truly be? The public was captivated and deeply unsettled. Governments were caught off guard. Official statements were hesitant, contradictory. Some denied the authenticity of the images, others called for calm, for further investigation. But the genie was out of the bottle. The scientific community itself was fractured. Many who had dismissed Planet 9 now faced a far more shocking possibility. As the dust of the initial shock began to settle, serious analysis of the structures commenced. Independent researchers, crowdsourced initiatives, even some formerly skeptical institutions began to examine Thorne's data. The images were pushed to their limits, enhanced, cross-referenced. The emerging picture was one of breathtaking scale and profound antiquity. These were not recent constructions. They appeared unimaginably old, weathered by eons. The geometry of the structures was baffling. They defied simple explanation. Some were vast, sprawling complexes covering hundreds of square kilometers. Their patterns were intricate, almost biological in their complexity, yet clearly artificial. Other features were immense, towering spires reaching up from the frozen surface like skeletal fingers. There was no geological process known to science that could account for such formations. They whispered of purpose, of design. Who or what could have built them, and why? The final, most unsettling piece of information lay buried deep within Aris Thorne's data dump. It was a discovery that would send shivers down the spine of even the most seasoned researchers. It was a detail so subtle, so easily missed, that it had initially gone unnoticed, a hidden gem of data obscured by the sheer volume of information. Even by Thorne himself, in his haste to compile and share his findings, this crucial piece had slipped through the cracks. It was a sequence of thermal imaging taken over several weeks, focused on one of the largest, most prominent structures, a structure that had long been a subject of speculation and intrigue. A vast, circular edifice, kilometers in diameter. Its sheer size was awe-inspiring, dwarfing anything humanity had ever constructed. It was this sequence that brought a new, chilling dimension to the mystery. The thermal images revealed something unexpected, something that defied logical explanation. The structure was not entirely static. There were faint movements, almost imperceptible, but there nonetheless. Faint thermal pulses emanated from it. Irregular but undeniable, these pulses suggested a form of activity, a sign of life perhaps, like a slow, deep breath. The kind of rhythmic pattern one might associate with a living, breathing entity, or the beat of a colossal, slumbering heart. A heart that had been dormant for eons, now showing signs of awakening. More disturbingly, these pulses seemed to change subtly after Cerro Infinito's initial, focused observations of Planet 9 began. It was as if the structure was responding to being watched. It was almost as if the act of observing, of discovering, had triggered a response, a reaction from the depths of space, from the ancient structure itself, a flicker of awareness from the silent colossus. The implication was staggering. What if this ancient structure was not just a relic, but a sentinel? The structures were not just ancient relics, they were perhaps still active, aware, watching, and their attention, however slight, however incomprehensible, might now be turning towards Earth, towards the source of the sudden inquisitive gaze, a gaze that had pierced the veil of time and space, and their attention, however slight, however incomprehensible, might now be turning towards Earth, towards the source of the sudden inquisitive gaze. Humanity had looked out into the darkness, and the darkness, it seemed, was beginning to look back. The watchers had become the watched,